Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. We are in studio with, I'm just so excited because about 10 years ago, one of my guests recommended a musician, and he's like, and he also hosts a show on Sirius XM, and I think you really like him, and we have been friends ever since. Joining me right now is Chris Jones with Chris Jones and the Night Drivers, who we've heard on this show, on the station before. Some great music. Welcome, welcome.
So good to be back. So great to see you after all this time.
I know. This is, I feel like every time we see each other, it's like no time has gone by, and yet it's a long time. It's a lot of things. And joining us in studio, this is exciting. Well, also joining us in studio is is Rodney Gibbs, the executive director of HeartlandSignal.com. Heartland Signal, everything.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? It's wonderful to have you. And so many wild things. At some point, I know we're going to have Daniel Squadron on the show and talk about the vision some more about what he has in his book and the work we're trying to do. I just had an interview that I recorded with a gentleman named Nicholas Frudenberg, who has been an activist since 1969, and it reinvigorated me. In addition to the work that Daniel Squadron is doing, about what our path forward is, and also like people need to strap in for the long haul.
Yeah.
Like there's no easy fix.
Unfortunately, no. It'd be great if there was,
yes.
right? But yeah.
Exactly. And the good news is today the Presidential Library and Museum for Barack Obama opened, and I know you were in flight. You said you had a 2-hour delay, so you might not have been able to catch up on some of this. What a spectacular day for this to happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better.
And where is it exactly?
It is in Hyde Park, not far from the University of Chicago, where he taught law, not far from where First Lady Michelle Obama grew up. And she had an amazing speech. There were great performances. 3 former presidents were there. And of course, Drowsy Donnie said that it was a disaster because, not everybody can have a featured guest who puked on themselves at the Lincoln Memorial. That's just not. How do you top that?
Not everybody can have a cage match for their big events.
Yeah, he only had Bruce Springsteen, and Bono, and all sorts of people.
And in the audience, like Mark Hamill and Tom Hanks. And
Did you see the tan suit?
No, who wore a tan suit?
I can't remember his name. He's head of like the Obama Foundation or something, and he wore the tan suit in honor of. It was the sweetest troll. It was so great.
Amazing.
And Obama was cracking up at the tan suit.
The good old days.
Yes.
Of them losing their minds over a tan suit and bare arms.
Oh, right.
That was the thing with Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Because the racist tropes have been around for a while. It's been really exciting. So but I do want to turn our attention because both of you know, we've had conversations. I have an appalling lack of musical knowledge. So it's nice to have somebody who is very music knowledgeable. I don't know how to pronounce, how to phrase that, but you also do a lot of work in the radio music area. I do. I DJ at WRFG in Atlanta and do an Americana show. We do folk, bluegrass, Americana. So, and I have a soul show also, but
shoot, I could give you my new album because but I don't have them yet. They're in Skokie, and I haven't even seen them yet. I will have one in my hand for the first time tomorrow.
Amazing. So, Chris, and you host a bluegrass show on Sirius XM?
Yes. Bluegrass Junction is their bluegrass channel. So work over there, and then there's a classic country channel as well, which is Willie's Roadhouse. So I just do some work over there too.
Is it The Willie? Is that
The Willie? Yes.
Wow.
This is so exciting.
Well, I haven't actually met yet. In theory, I almost worked for him, but yes.
I shook his hand once. So.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm from Austin, and he did a small-ish show, like a couple hundred people.
Oh,
so
great.
He did a little handshaking on the way out. So.
I'm a big fan. My dad was a huge fan of Willie Nelson's. I mean, like I didn't own. This is part of my background. We didn't have albums in my house. I mean, like I do remember like some 8-tracks that were. We had like a player for 8-tracks, and it was Bing Crosby. It was also Willie Nelson. I think it's Stardust. Was that one of his albums? So look at you both. Yes, that rings a bell for me. So that was my dad would always tell the story about how he sold Crazy for Patsy Cline to sing for 2 bags of groceries, basically.
Yeah, it's a lot of stories like that back then when that was happening all the time. People would sell songs and just for practically nothing because they needed it at the time. There's another story about one famous country star selling half of a song for a pair of boots that he really liked. And, these things happened.
Amazing.
Wow.
And so tell me a little bit about your background, Rodney, and what drew you to folk music and bluegrass, Americana music.
Well, so I blame my brother. I have an older brother who, when, I grew up in the 80s, and I was, still loved new wave music and punk and that stuff. And that was my jam. And my brother gave me a John Hartford album, who there's nodding here in the studio. Yeah. My two of us. Sorry, Pat.
Sorry, it's all right. I'm like, no, I'm nodding. And like, I guess so.
And I remember it was like this guilty pleasure because I was like in 8th grade and, my brother's like, just listen to it. And it was a cassette tape. And I was like, I don't know, it's twangy and it's not loud. And John Hartford is like brilliant and he's funny as hell and he's just a virtuoso. And like I fell in love with that album, his Aeroplane. And I started then I went to college and I was a college DJ. And there was a great show at our college at Rice University that a guy did called Chicken Skin Music, which is named after a Ry Cooder album. And it was like, folk Americana, but like with a Texas twist. And Lyle Lovett was getting big then. And Townes Van Zandt was already like a looming figure. So that was like my schooling in it. I've just always stuck with it. I really love it.
And for your benefit and listeners who may not know, John Hartford is kind of a Renaissance man. He played all of these different instruments. He danced and he sang and he wrote all these great songs. Then they discovered a whole drawer full of fiddle tunes that he wrote. And there's a thing called the John Hartford Fiddle Tune Project where they recorded all these tunes. Plus, he was a riverboat captain and all this stuff.
And he was a writer on Laugh-In with Steve Martin in the 60s. Yeah.
Amazing.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
I love these stories.
And a lot of funny songs about getting stoned. So, one about getting his grandmother stoned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think my mom is listening, so I think I can tell a story real quick. I don't know if I've ever told you this. When my mother battled breast cancer, and one of the things that helped her battle anxiety was having some medicinal cannabis, and one of them was a gel, and they had shown her how to use it. And my mom's like me, like I need the gist of it. Don't give me a lot of like just don't do this. So she, rather than pull the tip, it was like a syringe with gel in it. Instead of pulling the tip off, she had cut the tip off, right? And so it was a bigger opening for how much she was supposed to put on her finger. And so I came home. I used to be on the air till 2 a.m. So I come home, it's like 2:40, and Steve's like, you need to go downstairs. Your mom is banging around. She's called me 4 times and hung up. And I go down there, and she is rocking back and forth, holding her dresser, going, Patricia, I think this is it. I'm dying. And I was just like, for whatever reason, I kind of got the feeling it was pot, because she hardly drinks. She had tequila for the first time, like straight in a shot. Like she'd have a margarita once in a while, but she was like 70. Mm-hmm. So this was an 87-year-old freaking out. And I was like, Mommy, tell me what you're feeling. She's like, my brain, it won't stop. And so long story short, she had squirted this gel. It was supposed to be like 1 dot, but it had been like a whole like glop of it. And she goes, I didn't want to waste it. Like, you know what? This is the kind of stuff you can waste for hours. And she was like scared. She wouldn't turn the TV on. She just wanted to lie in the dark. I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
So that was so for those of you who have somebody who's trying it for the first time, be there for them, be patient.
Whether they're 21 or they're 70.
Exactly. Or 85. Yeah. It was, so I could see writing a song about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So Chris, I know we've had this conversation before, but what drew you into the world of music?
I had an uncle who was a banjo player, and that side of the family is from Michigan, and there's some kind of country musicians on that side. And he had come to New York and was in the village scene there at the time that my mother came to New York as an aspiring actress, and she went into that business. Meanwhile, my dad was a jazz guy and he was a bartender at a famous jazz club in New York called the Five Spot. So I got exposed to just a whole range of music and my dad was not a musician at all. My mother sang, but he loved it. And some of that passion rubbed off on me. And then I kind of credit my stepmother as well after he remarried. And she was a huge bluegrass and country music fan and had picked up on that in Detroit, which is the like sort of hidden hotbed for that music. And so I kind of got a lot of that from her, and that's how I started to hear some of that music, and Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs, and then Doc Watson, and I was just starting to play the guitar, and I never pictured doing it for a living, but that's how it ended
Wow.
up somehow.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's amazing, like, where you started. Like, for me, like, a stand-up comedy, I was obsessed with Johnny Carson, right? My parents and my dad loved, like, Jack Benny and George Burns and Gracie Allen. And so I grew up in, like, that old style of it. And so for whatever reason, like, that just was sort of my lane. Like, if you got into my car in the 1980s, so I graduated in 89, you would hear my tape player always had George Carlin, Richard Pryor. Like, I didn't have music. And if I did have music, it was 104.3, the oldies on Magic 104.3. I liked, like, it was all, Elvis and Johnny. I mean, it was Johnny Cash and things like that, but no, it was mostly stand-up comedy. So it's just interesting what draws you.
You mentioned 8-track tapes earlier.
Yeah.
And my brother, the older one who gave me the John Hartford, he's 12 years older. So when I was little in the 70s, he was 18, I was like 6 or 7. He had 7 Dirty Words.
Oh, yes.
Carlin on 8-track.
Which grew. Yes.
Well, and I remember I would go in his room and he could always say, like, okay, you cannot listen to track 3. And of course, like, as soon as he'd leave the room, like, track 3. And that was where he did the 7 Dirty Words.
Yeah,
amazing.
Of course,
Yeah.
I think he recorded, I don't know if he recorded it here, but I know that he was working on that here in Chicago. So, he was arrested. He was in the audience of a Lenny Bruce performance. So because they were targeting Lenny Bruce and, with the obscenity laws. And so that was part of what radicalized and changed George Carlin forever was being arrested.
Lenny Bruce?
Not just seeing him, but being arrested. He was in a paddy wagon just because he was in the audience.
Carlin was arrested.
Carlin was arrested too. The audience members just being there.
Witnessing it?
Yes. So
Wow.
he talked about how, and it's actually, this comes full circle to progressive radio, which is, music and art has always been, protest. And Carlin is a good example of that. A lot of musicians, Johnny Cash, I think, just for examples, it's in folk music. I didn't know a lot about Pete Seeger until really, if it's in a movie, I learned more. So the Bob Dylan movie, things like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. My daughter got radicalized with an event. It's not music, but it just reminds me because those catalytic things happen. And so we were from Texas, and when Wendy Davis did the big filibuster, do you remember this?
Yeah, of course.
My daughter was like 10. And so my wife took her down that night to see it. And like everyone was trying to get in and see it.
Sure.
And it was so ugly what they were doing. They were making women going in give all their tampons and sanitary napkins because they were worried. They said that they would throw it at the senators and
Which
stuff
sounds
like
like
that.
a really good idea, but go ahead.
Yeah. And my daughter, who was like 10 or 11, was just like aghast that this is happening.
Wow.
And like at that moment, she said like, this is terrible. But now she's 24 and she talked to us like, that was the moment. I was like, what the hell? And like, it really opened her eyes to something. And it really stuck with her, this, what single moment on one night in August in Texas.
I think Griffin was 5 when John McCain had chosen Sarah Palin to be his running mate, and there was video of her shooting coyotes from a helicopter. And Griffin was a big animal activist, so that was. People always accuse me of radicalizing him, and because Griffin's farther left than I am. When I ran for office, we had to hide his Twitter. We had to like try to find ways to make sure no one connected me to his Twitter account. They were like, he's too far to the left, but he's moderated a little bit. He like doesn't think that at the time didn't think that people should own property like that. And I was like, well, tell me how it works then, sweetie. Tell me how your grandmother has worked her entire life for this 2 flat and all. You know what I mean? Like, let's. I mean, there are places where it can be practical, but at any rate, I don't have to radicalize anybody. The MAGA does it to themselves. I'm just saying. Let's take a break here, if you don't mind. We're gonna. Well, I hope you don't mind. I kind of have to. We're gonna take a break here. Are you guys good for? Are you hanging out for a bit?
Sure.
Excellent. It's Rodney Gibbs, our executive director here at Heartland Signal. Everyone, go to heartlandsignal.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. You heard Richard Eberwein on Jones Show talking about the top stories, including, the shenanigans. We're catching a lot of the shenanigans, but the state capitol stories, our legislators are. That's where they're doing the most harm. They've unpacked Project 2025 across this country long before Donald Trump was running for office. They were really, they started nibbling around the edges until they just took big chunks out of our rights. Chris Jones also joins us in studio. It's Chris Jones and the Night Drivers. But tomorrow you're performing with a friend of yours.
Yes, local, just a wonderful musician named Don Sternberg. We're doing a duo show.
Are there tickets left?
I think there are. I think last time I was here to talk about this, it was sold out, so I
Right.
couldn't actually promote it. But yes, there are a few tickets left. It's at Seaman Violins on Oakton in Skokie.
It's a great venue and a really beautiful area. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we're talking with Todd Belcourt from Social Change to talk about Juneteenth, because I think there's a legislator, again, state legislators. This guy was talking about how it's not real history, it's all lies. So we need to keep telling these stories. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150. Of course, everyone tuning in on our live streaming and Facebook Facebook and YouTube. Maybe you're a future time listener on our podcast, available wherever you listen to your podcast. And thank you to our sponsors, Source Solar, Pride Coffee Roasters, and Are You Really Winning? We'll be back in a moment.
You are listening to WCPT 820.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Of course, all of our streaming devices. Maybe you've got one of those radio tune-in apps and you've synced it with your car. We appreciate that. We'll keep you company during your traffic drive. Joining me in studio is Rodney Gibbs, who's the Executive Director for Heartland Signal. Again, visit heartlandsignal.com. Make sure you're subscribing to our newsletter. Aaron Kleinman gives you an article every week about what's going on in our state legislatures, how we should be paying attention. Of course, all of our journalists here, including Richard Eberwein, catching the stories we might not otherwise learn about, because these are the stories that shape our democracy. Also joining us in studio is our good friend Chris Jones, who is appearing tomorrow night in Skokie. I can never remember the name of the venue.
It is Seaman Violins.
Seaman Violins.
Yeah, Peter Seaman is a violin maker. It's got a beautiful shop there, Seman, and that's on Oakton. And it's a great place just to see the shop. It's just this beautiful place, and these beautiful instruments that are made there. And then they've got a sort of little music venue in the back room.
It's such a cool little space. I love that. And it's right to folks who want to know, it's near Oakton and Nile Center Road, right up the street from that Village Pizza Inn, not too far from there. And joining us on the line is the Executive Director and co-founder of Social Change, Todd Belcour. You have an event coming up for Juneteenth. How are you doing, my friend?
Hi, Patty. I'm doing well, and hello, of course, to your wonderful guests. I'm doing well, and I'm really excited to be a part of the show today, even though via satellite.
Right. Well, I know that you're extremely busy. And by the way, I do want to extend our gratitude for the sponsorship for the Pride Parade float at Social Change joining us, along with the title of sponsorships with Berman, Kia, and Hyundai Auto Group. So we're so excited to join with the celebration on Pride Day, which, by the way, everyone's June 28th. We'll be broadcasting live. And if you want to sponsor our float, you can email me, P. Vasquez at heartlandsignal.com. Todd, have you seen, I know that there are people who've been griping for quite a while that Juneteenth, that's not even a real holiday. And I never learned about that when I was growing up, which is exactly the point, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why we need it. I mean, I think it reminds people of not only that freedom was never given, not only that was fought for, but all the efforts and all the things people have done historically and even to present day to prevent people from recognizing their rights, that they are truly free and actually being the people that their potential should allow them to be. So this is why we're partnering with others of not just Social Change, but Social Change, working with the Justice Alliance, Renew Chicago, Focus for Health, One America Movement, and others to make sure that people never forget what Juneteenth represents. And it's not only freedom and the fight for freedom, but also all the efforts that are continuing to be made to deny freedom. So it's tomorrow bright and early at 7:30, but the walk begins at 9 o'clock at 31st Street Beach. And we want people to come out and fellowship, come out and walk, come out and celebrate freedom, come out and celebrate that fight for freedom, but most importantly, be part of the movement that's still afoot to make sure people can have the closest thing to freedom that we have today, and that fewer people are denied what we all should be given.
Amazing. It's such great work that you all do. And I know there's a lot of organizations that will be participating. Again, remind folks, where can they get more information about the event? And do you need people to let you know that they're coming too?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to for people to let us know they're coming so we can make sure there's enough pizza for everybody. Because there's Luminati's as the pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. Yeah. And we want to make sure that people who come get a chance to enjoy some, not just looking at other people leering at their food and they're hoping people will share. So please go to socialchange.site to make sure you get a chance to not only let us know you're coming, but let us know how many people are coming with you. Because we want to have, of course, a larger crowd as possible. But also we want to make sure that everyone comes, gets fed, gets water. It's supposed to be a perfect day tomorrow and a perfect day to celebrate freedom and to continue to fight for freedom. And a super shout out to folks like, Reverend Gibbs, who helped make this possible, from Justice Journey Alliance, but also our partners at folks like Winston Strawn and I guess Winston Taylor now. Ken Berry, an incredible leader, has helped us be at the forefront of the food insecurity, but also do the legal clinics that we think are the modern representation of making sure we can provide freedom that's otherwise deferred for people who don't know about the new laws and remedies communities that remove barriers to people's freedom. So we're actively fighting that fight today. And the best way to commemorate that and keep that memory alive and make sure the naysayers are people who kind of deny history and make sure history is something that's not only not taught, but actually made illegal to make available to people, as, say something to rebuke all that sort of anti-truth rhetoric that's unfortunately commonplace now.
Again, we're talking to Todd Belcourt. He's the executive director and co-founder of Social Change. You can go to socialchange.site and find out more about the event tomorrow for Juneteenth, as well as other ways that you can support their mission, which is dedicated to addressing food insecurity, removing legal barriers, and empowering communities through direct service and advocacy. And Todd, I hope you can come into studio soon.
Absolutely, I would love to, and I'd love to hear about the wonderful music and the way in which art has opened people's eyes. And thank you for all you're doing to open people's eyes and make sure people are informed, Patty.
What's some of your music that you turn to in times like what we're going through?
Well, I like reggae. There's definitely a lot of liberation themes within reggae music. Of course, gospel as well. Believing and recognizing the original Bible studies were less about the Bible, but also about mobilizing people and getting people registered to vote and all the different ways you had to organize in silence and covertly, and just making sure we're staying true to those histories by organizing and mobilizing through every method of madness we can during this crazy time we're enduring.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for the great work you're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much.
It's always an honor to work with you and an honor to be your friend. And I'll tell my guests in studio the story about how we met at the rail in the rotunda of our Capitol here in Illinois, in Springfield. Yeah, Todd showed me the ropes.
If it includes the word clothesline, it's not true.
He prevented me from making a fool of myself with before MAGA was really as deeply entrenched. Because that really was, because 2015 was just before. It was still like the Tea Party, and it was actually Jeannie Ives who ended up doing some really horrifying transphobia ads when she was running for governor, and says if you're a CPS union member you're really stupid, or if you support that, it's just anyway. He prevented me from. I thought I could have a chat with her. I thought we could talk. He's like, and he also. I think my favorite moment was at the Globe, but we'll tell that some other time.
That's off air. That's better. It comes off better off air. But I really appreciate all you're doing, Patty, and hope more people can join us tomorrow at 31st Street Beach, anytime between 7:30 and 9. Walk a couple miles with us and fellowship, make some friends, and build this movement.
Excellent. 31st Street Beach between 7 and 9 tomorrow. Everyone can go to socialchange.site for more information about everything they do. And if you're coming, make sure you let them know so they can make sure there's plenty of pizza. Thank you so much. There's Lou Malnati's for that's a good breakfast, is all I'm saying. I'm telling you. Thanks, Todd.
All right, take care.
Appreciate it. Have a great night. Be well. Yeah, he's great to work with. Someday I will tell you off the air. Maybe during the next break. No, I spent one of the reasons I got involved in Illinois politics, again, as we've talked about, throughout the years I've been here at WCPT, is how important our state capitals are. I started advocating for people with disabilities in about 2011, and then we had a governor who basically, again, these were the testing grounds for what Trump is doing now. What the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, that's what they all wanted to do, was eliminate social programming benefits. Supports that really help people. They wanted to defund that. And so for over 2.5 years, providers here in Illinois, many of them were not paid for 6 months, 10 months, 18 months. A lot of them went out of business. So now 10 years later in Illinois, there's a program, just to give you an example, called Early Intervention, because so many people left the field. Many people didn't want to join because they know that the government won't pay, or it's hard to get reimbursed for their work because they get paid after, sometimes weeks, months, a year later. We now have 3,000 babies on a 1-year waiting list. When my son Declan was born, there was a social worker in my home helping me figure out what was going to happen next within a month after he was born. So these are babies who every single day matters to help them reach their potential. So that was how Todd and I met, was in 2015 when Governor Rauner on a Good Friday, I'm not kidding you, I want to say like 4:59 p.m. just so that it would fly under the radar. And let's just say I rang the alarm bells loudly. And,
I bet.
And so Todd, I thought I should talk to some Republicans too, because I'm only talking to the friendlies. And he basically said, not that one. Not that Republican. And he was right. There were Republicans that I could have conversations with. Mm-hmm. Are you hanging out for a little bit more?
I probably have to get out.
All right. Well, hold on then. Mm-hmm. So are you heading back home, or are you staying another day in Chicago?
Another day.
Oh, yeah. Good. I'm glad we have good weather.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm checking out that David Byrne thing tonight, the Theater of the Mind.
Yes. At the Goodman Theater.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You're leaving on Saturday?
Yes.
You're leaving
Yeah.
quickly, so you won't have time.
It's not him, but it's an exhibit he
Right,
put together, right?
But he's been doing a lot of. He appeared on Stephen Colbert's show before. I
Yeah.
think Colbert ended
And
to
the
talk
final
about this.
week, yeah. Wow.
So it's sort of an interactive experience. So you're kind of walking through the performance. So that's
Oh, at the Goodman, you said?
at the Goodman Theater. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, me too.
That's very cool. Well, enjoy. So will we see you here again tomorrow? You'll be back here? Okay.
Back to tomorrow.
Excellent. All right,
Yeah.
cool. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for
right.
stopping
Thank
by.
you.
Again, everyone go to heartlandsignal.com, sign up for the newsletter. Also visit our Facebook page. We'd love for you to follow us, subscribe, and share with other folks. Anything I'm missing?
I think you got it.
Okay.
That was good.
It's weird having I've been stuttering a lot. When the boss is in the studio, I get a little bit nervous.
I can't tell.
I talk too fast anyway. Well, thank you, Rodney.
Thank
Safe
you for having
travels.
me.
Nice to
Absolutely.
meet you, Rodney. Yeah, take care.
We'll continue our conversation with Chris Jones from Chris Jones and the Night Drivers when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. And thank you to everybody who's tuning in to our live stream. If you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, please, as they say, smash that subscribe button. That was weird. I apologize ahead of time. All right.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are opening up the phone lines. Thank you, Lady B. When you call in, the voice you'll hear is Lady B's. And do me a favor, be nice to her because, one, she deserves it, and two, you should be anyway. I shouldn't have to ask. Chris Jones from Chris Jones and the Night Drivers joins me in the studio. Tomorrow night, he'll be performing at Siemens Violins on Oakton near Niles Center Road in Skokie, Illinois. It's funny. Dad, have you seen the Blues Brothers movie?
Yes.
So I always think of, whenever I think of Skokie, I have a shirt that says, I hate Illinois Nazis.
Yeah, that's great.
It's
yeah, famous scene.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite Chicago-based movies? Because someone was doing a whole list of these things.
Oh, so High Fidelity was great.
Oh,
and,
interesting choice.
yeah.
Okay, a John Cusack movie.
And
My husband's wincing right now. He went to high school with him. And he always,
yeah, okay. Yeah, John and Joan, right?
Yeah, and she's lovely. She has a gift store in Old Town. And I've gone in there, and has been behind the counter. She left Hollywood, just decided to sort of semi-retire for a little bit, and just ran her gift shop out of Old Town. Really lovely.
And the Harrison Ford.
The
Fugitive was a great. There's so much great Chicago footage, and he's actually in the St. Patrick's Day parade. They didn't they didn't stage it. And
I know, isn't that funny? They just jumped in.
And who did I spot in the crowd there? It was the guy who was the temporary replacement for Obama in the Senate.
Oh,
what was his name?
Oh, who was the temporary? It wasn't Bobby Rush.
No. Shoot, I'm drawing a blank, but I swear I saw
trivia. I have
him.
nothing to give away.
Saw him in the St. Patrick's Day parade. In that.
Oh,
in that
how
footage.
funny is that?
It
It wasn't Denny. Who was the temporary senator?
It was a veteran of this team.
We'll have to. So
Okay.
someone will text us in a
Yes,
moment. I know
yes.
that they will. The director of The Fugitive, we actually had him on a few years ago, and he made a movie in Chicago in the 70s that's music-based, actually. Let me see if I can find. You might love this movie because it's all about musicians here in Chicago. First movie in Chicago. Hold on, I'm quickly Googling it because I highly recommend this. I think it's streaming online. His Stony Island was his first feature debut film by Andrew Davis, who also obviously directed, as I mentioned. So he kind of did the same thing where he would just be on a L platform and not tell anybody he was filming and just kind of run and gun it. And really great story. But I have to say, it's really good.
Yep.
Yeah, so I highly recommend. Let me get to our first phone call. We are on the line with Jim in Chicago. Hello, my friend. What's on your mind?
Hi, Patty. Minnesota. They threw a net over 16 people that protested against ICE. This time, 16 people. The DOJ is charging with conspiracy, similar to the 6 people charged in Chicago. And they think of it, Patty. Let's say you're not well-means. You've got to get a lawyer. You've got to sweat it out for 6 months, maybe a year. And they intend to put these people in jail. But in the meantime, they have not touched the 2 murders in Minnesota.
Yeah.
People shot to death. Or in Chicago, the man shot in Franklin Park, and the person who was shot 5 times, a poor girl who was shot 5 times. No charges against those
Yep, Miramar Martinez, and not only did they shoot her, they essentially mocked her. They went to her hospital room to basically take photos that were essentially like trophy photos of having shot her, because a guy who did open fire on her said, "What was it? 5 shots, 7 holes," and was like, top that, boys.
Right, that's how barbaric they are. And then on the same token, up in Belfast, the ultra, those are guys that fought the IRA. They burned out some immigrants there, and what does Musk do? On his insane X says, the gal who's running that district is a race trader. She's a race trader. This is how crazy these people are. Musk. In the meantime, Musk is trying to buy Texas. They put those AI things in, and they're suing him. But he said, "Well, our military, I'm selling all this to the military, $7 billion, $8 billion to the military. You can't sue me." And then he's got 2 in Memphis where he's choking the people to death with a gas turbine that hasn't been used since the beginning of the 20th century. So the point is, these people are insane over immigrants. I don't know why. Do they really think they're at the top of the pyramid, and then at the bottom of the pyramid are immigrants? And I mean, who thinks like that, Patty?
MAGA still thinks that Elon Musk is their hero. I don't know if they have dreams and delusions of someday being a millionaire, trillionaire, but I don't know. But
or going to Mars. He's going to build a city in Mars. But I guarantee you that you won't get a passport to go there. If you're an immigrant, you're not going to get up there. I imagine he'll have. Well, he's got enough kids, doesn't he? He's got about 15 kids now. He's like Noah's Ark. But anyway, I mean, this is how crazy these people are.
Yeah.
That's the country we live in. This DOJ is absolutely insane. I mean, they're insane. What are they doing to these people? But they won't go near an ICE agent that murdered people. I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, because then that would mean they did something wrong. Because indicting an ICE agent, the federal government indicting an ICE agent would open them up to scrutiny with their policies and practices.
But, Patty, our prosecutors in Chicago, about 100 of them signed the document. Why aren't we prosecuting these people? They're dragging people. They had I mean, there's so many atrocities you could every day. People are being dragged out of cars, shot into cars, smashed into trees. I mean,
Here's
go ahead,
somebody just shared a thought regarding our conversation about the Minnesota protesters and observers who were indicted, and I get his point, but I do want to point out. So he says, "Tell Jim, relax. That Minnesota protest nonsense will get tossed out of court. Same thing happened with the Broadview 6 case. Another waste of time in court. But here's the problem: is that their lives get absolutely decimated. I mean, Kat Sharp was running for committee woman. Like, she had aspirations of public service and suspended her campaign and had to focus on paying for lawyers, dealing with what that was going to look like in court. Mike Rabbitt, who does serve in office, had the amount of money that is spent, because this is what Trump does, is destroy people through court cases, and this is part of it.
And there's no risk.
Squeeze the money out of them. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say there's no risk to them to do that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out and it's tossed out, they haven't lost anything.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, because we're actually paying on our taxpayer dime for this DOJ outfit. I mean, they got a win-win situation there. They're not paying anything, but the poor people that are being railroaded.
Yep.
I mean, you have to pony up your scratch. Anyway, you guys have a great night. A good show. Thank
Jim.
you, guys.
Good to hear from you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jim. Let's take a call from Indiana. It's Dan. You're on the line with me and Chris Jones from Chris Jones and the Night Drivers. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hello. How are you, Patty?
I'm hydrating.
Me too, as a matter of fact.
Here, let me get my cup out.
I just like to bring up something I haven't heard too much, because it just came out actually about an hour or two ago, that because of Trump's hatred for Obama's day today, he has stopped, I guess, executive order, all unemployment insurance payments.
What?
I was wondering if you were. Yeah. It's on there. It's on the internet.
They're threatening to.
He had to do something. He had to do something.
Yeah, because he said that there's unemployment fraud. I was thinking about this, and I get that they're are high levels of fraud, including in red states by like this guy who was the legislator in Florida who was like, it was like tens of millions of dollars. He's the former
Johnson.
No, not Ron Johnson, but something like that. No, from Florida. Someone will email me, Rick something. But here's
Rick Johnson. I'm sorry. Yeah.
But here's the thing about all of this. One, the amount of fraud that is executed by white-collar criminals, including the one in the White House, because we are now in the billions of dollars of the grift, and all of his circle, the billionaires that are in his cabinet, that the amount of money that is fraudulently, charged for through is bad and wrong, and people should be prosecuted, and they are being prosecuted. Minnesota already had an entire investigations going on across the state under the Biden administration, but it pales in comparison to what white-collar crime does, not just the cost of it in a dollar sense, what's quantifiable, but what it does to our communities where people are choked off from resources.
Exactly.
And I think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think one story.
Just think of the ones that are already losing their SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
And now also unemployment.
I think a story, and this is one of the most tragic things, and I don't know if enough people are hearing this story because of everything else going on. A woman in Mississippi was at a Walmart. Have you heard about the story? They accused her of stealing diapers, and they called the police. And she had bought there's footage of her paying for the diapers. Well, too late, because the police were trying. They approached her. She started arguing with them. Started to drive off. They opened fire and killed her baby, and critically injured her aunt. And that was all for steal. You know what? If someone's stealing diapers, look the other way. And secondly, she wasn't even stealing the diapers.
Let's just say again, what state was that again?
Mississippi.
So everybody knows.
Yeah, she's a black woman, white cop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up so everybody's aware of it. Now they're cutting unemployment from everybody.
Yeah.
So, or Trump is actually. I mean, I never was sure how it worked, but it is federally funded to the states.
Yeah, and you pay into your unemployment insurance.
Yeah, and now he's stopping it. So on top of everything else, because he's mad.
Yep.
It's another thing today because he's mad because of Obama. That's what it is. Exactly what it is.
He is the biggest baby, and his diapers prove it. Thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Dan.
All right.
Yeah.
The nice thing for Obama is this wonderful opening of the center, and he has lived a relatively sane, normal life, and meanwhile, Donald Trump has been consumed with Obama all these years.
Oh, yeah.
Every day. You imagine having to live like that.
You know what? I still, that Supreme Court in 2000 with the Gore v. Bush, I mean, we can draw a pretty direct line to all of that. I mean, also to Reagan, the Federalist Society is we have a lot of work to do, and we have to, it's not even accepted. Maybe it's radical acceptance of there is no quick fix. This is going to take years. And I think I'll air this interview hopefully tomorrow with Nicholas Freudenberg about some of the ways in which we pace ourselves, because he has been doing this since 1969, fighting for healthcare at Rikers Island, fighting for AIDS treatments during the 80s, just the fight. And he said that one of the things we have to do is celebrate our victories and be loud about it. And I think that's something that Democrats just don't embrace enough, whether it was President Obama or Biden, both of whom, I think that someone mentioned it today on the air that, every construction site during Biden's administration that they got funding for should have had a big billboard that said, "Your job brought to you by the Biden administration."
Well, exactly. And it's hard, there's a happy medium somewhere in between being overly humble about this stuff and then bragging every day about stuff that hasn't even happened.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, let's take a break here before I start yelling. I was about to start yelling, Chris, and you don't deserve that. Let's take a break here. Chris Jones and the Night Drivers performing tomorrow at Siemens Violins in Skokie on Oakton near Nile Center Road, right over by there. I want to say it is, I'm trying to think. There's a couple angle streets there, so it throws off my east-west, north-south. So I want to say south of Oakton, south of Nile Center Road. Someone's going to call me and tell me I'm wrong, and that it's east.
7 p.m., you can go and buy a violin and then go in the back and
as
hear some
you do.
music. Yeah, of course.
For those of you who are in the market for a violin, you can go to Siemens Violins. That's SEMAN violins.com. SEMAN KKANviolence.com, and they have a concert series there. So, of course, tomorrow it is BYOB, unless otherwise noted. So that sounds as though, so that you can buy the tickets right there on their website. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, as well as our folks who are joining us digitally. We'll be right back as soon as I can find the button. It's over here somewhere. There it is.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. And thank you to all of our friends who are tuning in on our digital platforms as well, like Facebook and YouTube. Please subscribe and let folks know that you're enjoying it. Maybe share it on your page and say, join the conversation, which is being held right now in studio with Chris Jones, and the Night Drivers performing. Well, Chris Jones is performing with Don Sternberg.
Yeah.
Sternberg. I have to check my pronunciation of names again. Don Sternberg and Chris Jones are performing tomorrow night at Seaman Violins in Skokie. Go to SeamanViolins.com for ticket information. And I'd love to see you. I'll be joining tomorrow night.
That's wonderful. And Don is, he's from Chicago. He's, I don't feel like I'm overstating this. He's a brilliant mandolin player, and he's a jazz player and also country player. Does all sorts of stuff. And so this is a huge treat for me just to play some music with him for a couple of hours.
Very fun. And you now you live in Canada.
Yes.
Currently, you're a United. Now, are you a dual citizen?
I am now. Yeah.
Was that asking for a friend? Was that a hard path?
It really wasn't, but I have an advantage in not married to a Canadian, and then also had a Canadian grandfather. But the problem for me was that I was working so much in the U.S. and other places in the world touring. I had to build up enough physical time in the country before I could apply. And it wasn't until COVID happened that I spent enough time. It had to be over a period of 5 years. And so once that happened, and I guess this is sort of typical government stuff. I never heard from anybody. I thought, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just not going to worry about it. And one day I get this email, you're invited to your citizenship ceremony. It's in 10 days. So I thought, oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Glad I caught that email and it didn't go to spam.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I do feel like, bureaucracies tend to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you're forgotten and then, it's done.
You better. We had that with Declan's Social Security benefits, and that we got a letter on Friday, and they were like, "Be here on Tuesday at 11:30, otherwise, his benefits are vulnerable to being because that's how this administration works."
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, I would say it's probably not uncommon even under any administration. Sure. Is it the hoops that you jump through? And I mentioned this earlier. I mean, we fork over everything to the rich and powerful, and this is not party specific. It's just in general, and it comes at the cost of everyone else's well-being and safety.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, hi, everybody.
Thanks to listeners, we solved the forgotten senator puzzle.
Yes, we were talking about The Fugitive and the parade scene. You were mentioning that's one of the movies that you think of with Chicago films.
Yeah.
And upon watching it, yes?
Yeah, I was watching it at St. Patrick's Day Parade, and I thought, that is, and I'd forgotten the name, Roland Burris. Thanks to your listeners who wrote in.
All of you looking it up. I didn't have time.
Yeah. A great cameo.
Yeah, that's a wild. Well, because it was not. Still, you said it wasn't staged. So whoever was walking in the parade, as most of our politicos do, so not surprising. Every politician wants to be. That's the one parade I think. I would say more than any. I'm trying to think. Are there any other parades people want to be in more than the St. Patrick's Day Parade? It seems like that's the one.
I still find that parade thrilling. So.
It's a lot of fun. I did, and of course the classic line: if they can, dye the river green once a year, why can't they dye it blue the rest of the year? I mean, I guess we can take a look at the reflecting pool and see how that turns out.
Well, no, they're doing that on purpose. That's to make it look like a $250 bill. Yeah, that's why they go with that color. It's not algae. Amazing. It's really reflects. Literally on this administration. There's a sludge. It's just the sludge in the reflecting pool that they spent, $10 million to make it look like American blue as opposed to the other blues, by the way. And yet it's still green.
filled with algae. And then they're going to try to apparently use hydrogen peroxide, I guess, to blast. They said it's the pipes. And, well, I mean, you hired these guys.
They were like pool people, right? They hired.
I guess.
So this works for a small pool.
This works very well, everybody. Let me catch up on some of these. We've got from the 847. Senator Rick Scott was the Republican in Florida who was liable for millions of dollars of fraud. I believe it was their Medicare, Medicaid system. And again, the amount of fraud within our support systems and our benefit systems is absolutely wrong, and people should be prosecuted. And the fraud and bilking of, I think it's like $400 billion in white collar crime that creates a cascade of catastrophic events for people.
A question for you. I've heard some people talk about there's a worry that when Democrats are back in power, in order to get back, everything's going to be forward looking. Let's not worry about what happened.
Right.
Let's go forward.
Well, we did that.
I would say, how much do you think really we have to hold people accountable for all of this?
Well, I don't know how much would have been different had President Lincoln not been assassinated after his presidency, because there was complete chaos when it came to Reconstruction and going back on a lot of what was possible, the potential of what President Lincoln had accomplished. And so I think that this country has a history of not holding people accountable to disastrous effects. At least the Republicans had the dignity to make Nixon resign, but we still didn't prosecute him. So in the exchange of not prosecuting him, he stepped out. And Biden, choosing Merrick Garland, this sort of namby-pamby, it smacked of, well, let's just, the same thing with a lot of the leaders, whether it's Dick Durbin or Nancy Pelosi, and just kind of, kind of this sort of like, well, this is the way it is. This is what we're dealing with, kind of a thing, I guess, and then we get this $1.8 billion in reparations for criminals who stormed the White House, took craps in people's offices, beat police officers and security guards with a flagpole, and we're supposed to say, oh, no, that sounds like a great idea. So, yeah. At any rate.
How do you keep it from happening again is the question.
I don't know if they have the sense of urgency or the vaginal fortitude. The cojones to get it done. You didn't see that coming. I heard that at MSNBC, I think, and I really enjoyed that. So let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to have a conversation with Rick Smith. Our union guy, Rick Smith. You hear him here on WCPT. In studio, we have Chris Jones of Chris Jones and the Night Drivers tomorrow. He'll be performing at Siemens Violins in Skokie. And you can go to SiemensViolins.com to get tickets to that event. That's SEMAN violins.com. And more after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Thank you for being here, everybody.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, and happy Thursday, everybody. Hope that you're happy, healthy, and safe wherever you are right now. Tuning in to Driving It Home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez. Joining me in studio is my guest co-host, Chris Jones of Chris Jones and the Night Drivers. He'll be joining Rick Sternberg.
Don Sternberg, yep.
Rick Smith is our next guest, and I've confused everybody's names, and that's why I should write things down. Don Sternberg, and he will be at Siemens Violin on Oakton near Niles Center Road. You can go to SiemensViolins.com for ticket information. Excellent. And joining us on the line right now from the working class neighborhoods of Cleveland, where folks didn't have much and still don't, Rick Smith went from delivering newspapers as a boy to a career driving 18-wheelers as a proud union member, and he, of course, our working class hero here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Rick, where in the world are you today? It seems like you're you're not in your mobile home. You're not on the road. Are you at home?
I am living the dream right here at home in my home studio, and thrilled to be here, Patty, because we live in a country that has the most powerful leader in the history of the globe. Our leader is more powerful than Alexander the Great, Caesars, Genghis Khan, Hitler, Mao, Stalin. We have the greatest leader, most powerful dear leader ever, according to a golf caddy that Trump got a paper from.
And I believe on top of all that, with a cherry on top, J.D. Vance today said that he has the highest IQ of any president ever.
Any person ever, I think.
Any person ever?
Yeah. But again, it depends on how many people you gave this particular test to. If you just gave it to one, sure, I get that. Because look, they have very different values from the rest of us, very different definitions. They've got their alternative facts. They've got alternative reality. They live in an alternative world where what just happened in Iran is a big victory. It's winning. Patty, are you tired of winning yet? Are you tired of all of this winning?
I am so tired of winning so hard that we created $29 billion of damage, killing kids in their school, losing servicemen and women, and we're gonna make sure that they have $300 billion to rebuild. We're not gonna stop them from enriching uranium. I mean, really, the art of the deal sequel apparently is the art of bending over.
Well, that was always, for working people, that was always the point. And look, we're going to end up getting, in your terms, bent over again, because that's what these people do. That's what this was always all about. And the sad reality is we're probably going to have a big parade honoring our dear leader to make Russia and North Korea jealous. We're going to spend kids' lunch money to do it, because that's who we sadly are today. And I hope Congress, I hope they grow a pair and they hold this deal in place. Because look, I think it's a crappy deal. I think there's nothing really good in it, but I want to stop the fighting and the dying and the bombing and all the other stuff. But I don't know about you, declaring victory over what we had before. The Strait of Hormuz is open. I'm sure you've maybe heard.
Yeah.
Donald Trump opened the Strait of Hormuz for us. Never mind the fact that it was open before he started it. And now it's in play. Again, I go back to it. Reminds me of George Orwell's 1984, where we're getting 20 grams of chocolate today. We're getting 20 grams. Now, forget that you got 30 yesterday, but we're getting 20 today.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to open a strait that was closed because we attacked them because it was previously open. Oh, and they get, after I think a month, they get to start charging tolls again. So that works out very well for everybody. But here's the thing.
I'm glad that the gallon of gas is still $1. I'm glad that the eggs are $1. I'm glad we're living in financial utopia where everyone's got health care. Every kid gets the best education because we got money to go bomb places that we have no business being in. And I know, save me but they're bad people. Yeah, there are a lot of bad people on this planet. We're not bombing all of them. I haven't seen us do anything in North Korea. So my question, and this is for both you and Chris, that little dust up with North Korea, we had some words back and forth. Trump and Kim Jong-un, love letters. When does the Ayatollah and Trump share love letters?
Yeah, really.
When do we get the love letters? And do we get a copy of them? Will we see like the Bible and the Quran and the Constitution and the love letters all packaged for sale? Can we get all of that?
The thing is, I think it could actually happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
See, I'm trying to find the most outrageous, crazy scenario to where you go, no, Rick, that's not possible. And Chris goes, yeah, man, with this guy, who knows?
Who knows? I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu, wait a minute. But if you've got no values at all, and it's just all about whatever the alliance of the moment is, and you admire strong men, why not?
Exactly.
The love letter's coming, man. The love letter's coming. But here's the really sad reality. While we're talking about this, and in a kind of joking way, the sad reality is 13 people died because of Trump's war. All of us have been fleeced. Corporate profits are up. Congratulations. We're all a little bit worse off. And for the first time in the history of the U.S., a majority of households now need 2 full-time working parents to raise a child, because over half of people with kids under 18 now have 2 full-time workers in the workforce. Whereas I'm old enough to remember we could survive on 1 good, solid union wage to support a family. Now we need 2 crappy jobs, and in a lot of cases, 3, maybe 4, just to make ends meet. So that's the ultimate winning. Oh, and by the way, we now have, and we should have a parade over this, we now have the first trillionaire in
Yeah.
history, and not just 1 trillion, 1.3 trillion.
Mm-hmm. But for a moment there, though, let me go back to needing at least 2 salaries that both parents need to work, and then let's use Indiana as an example, a right to work state where they have cut funding for childcare, and as a result, over 300 childcare centers have closed. So now you got parents who are struggling to find childcare, need the money to be able to support their families, and I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. And yet you still, what is it, still 35% of people who, identify as Republican. It was just 35% of voters. I don't know who supports this. I don't know I know we talk about polls because Trump always says he has the best polling. He's scoring 120% in all the polls. It's insane.
Very best. The best polling. But I'll tell you who I think those people are. They're the folks who raise their children at a time when one income did support a family, where a parent had the opportunity to stay home, and they go, well, we did it.
Yeah.
Everyone can do it. When the reality is we're living in a whole different world. Back then, in those days, union density was in the 30s. Now it's at 6% of the private workforce. There's a whole different economic model going on where everyone needs a side hustle and a gig and who knows what else just to keep food on the table and a roof over their kid's head. But this is winning. And this is what true leadership looks like, because we're going to funnel $300 billion of investment into Iran that should be coming here to invest in this country that needs roads and bridges and schools and hospitals and all of those things that, well, Biden was trying to do. But hey, he falls asleep.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that's different, and I was thinking about this the other day, is the nickel and diming that we just slow, like that drip, drip, drip of the things that you want to subscribe to. Whether first of all, it's your cell phones. Because when we were growing up, all 3 of us, there were maybe 4 or 5 television stations, right? You had your landline. If you wanted to make an international call, like your parents were ticked at how much that was going to cost. Right now, we don't even think about all the subscriptions. Like satellite television, the Spotify. I mean, all the things that we are incrementally being charged for, and then we depend on it. And now we don't want to cancel it because I really like having this on that. It's a lot that wasn't a part of our lives.
Clearly. I mean, but here's the thing, and I'll blame water. I'll blame the fact that we were dumb enough to buy bottles of water.
That's a good point. Yes.
When I was a kid, there were drinking fountains everywhere. There were hoses at people's houses.
I was gonna say.
There were ways of getting. I was just watching. The Y has a big daycare kind of thing for the summer for kids, and there was like 100 of them walking, and every one of them had their little backpack and a bottle of water. I'm going. When I was a kid, I never had a bottle of water. We never needed to be hydrated. If we were thirsty, we ran over and got a drink out of the hose. What we've done is corporate America has trained us to believe that, well, what we as kids thought was the right to get a drink at the drinking fountain or the hose is now something that we have to purchase or be prepared for. So, to me, that was kind of really at least the acceleration of getting us to reach into our pocket, and corporate America training us like Pavlovian dogs to whenever we need something to be foaming at the mouth going, oh, I can't wait. People stand in line for freaking shoes.
I know. It's so funny you mentioned that, because I was at the University of Illinois and one of my friends was a columnist for the newspaper, and so it would be 1991. I want to say he wrote a piece about how he couldn't believe how thirsty everybody must be that they had to buy water, right? And that was that just popped into my head when you said that. It was Rob Scranton wrote that piece, and it is amazing to me that does seem like the tipping point, and it was a little bit around the time because I was in high school. I never had cable television until I went to college, until I was in the dorms, and I had never, I'd seen Friday night videos was the most of the videos. I didn't have MTV or any of that, but then all of a sudden you can't live without it. Oh, this is amazing. Everything, and now it's AI. People can't imagine themselves without Google, which, by the way, we've been using AI for years. Now it's monetized in a different way, and this is catastrophic, I think.
No, and the difference is not just the difference is it's thinking for us.
Yes.
We're putting in some thoughts and it's shooting stuff. Oh yeah, because I don't know about you, but I used to get some really great hate email with lots of misspellings, lots of curse words.
Yeah.
No grammar, no capitalization.
Sure.
Now I get perfectly grammatically correct hate mail with semicolons.
Oh boy.
And you go, gee, I'm sure you, as the Rhodes Scholar who is writing this, I always write back, explain your usage of the semicolon to me.
It's good.
That's all I want to know.
Yeah, the M dash, folks, is
Well, of
your
course, what
tip-off.
comes with that, too, is the well-written phishing email. Those used to be all garbled up, and now they look kind of professional.
Yeah, those Nigerian princes did not have their act together. That's all I'm saying.
No, now I get Russian models selling crypto.
Oh, God. There's so much happening. Rick Smith, the host of The Rick Smith Show. You can find him everywhere, of course, here on WCPT. And we love these conversations. Before we go, I do want to say, were you at the Labor Notes convention this weekend?
I did not get there, no.
I wanted to go, and our host here on WCPT, Jacob Morrison, he's the co-host of the Valley Labor Report, was telling me yesterday about how the energy was just electric at the event, and that it's amazing being in around 4,000 people that will run through a wall for labor. And I also want to thank, before I forget, Tom Tarrant from the Railroad Union, who sent over pizzas for us today. Very kind of him, because he's a regular on the show. My mother was a railroad retirement employee for 25 years. She was a federal union member, which now, of course, they've lost their rights because the Trump administration decided that they shouldn't be able to bargain, right? It's good stuff.
Yeah, no, hey, but remember, Donald Trump is the best friend labor ever had. And look, to be honest, he's got Sean O'Brien as his labor guy. So, and O'Brien just won 97% of the delegate vote in the Teamsters convention. So 5 more years. 5 more years.
Wow. Well, Rick, is there anything else I'm missing that you want to make sure people know about?
No, just tune in every day. Make sure you're here. I want to hear from you. Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. Anything I said make you mad, make you happy, make you sad, I want to hear about it.
That's Rick Smith. Thank you so much, Rick. Have a great evening. And my best to your wife. I hope she's doing well.
We're putting one foot in front of the other.
Absolutely. I know it's been a long, hard road, and I know how much you love your wife, and we all deserve to have the support and care that she has from you and all of your fan base. But in particular, having been a union member, I know that makes a big difference in her recovery too.
Oh no, my insurance and my union has been fabulous. I highly suggest people join unions solely for if bad things happen, you've got help.
That's right. Thank you so much, Rick. Take care.
Thanks,
have a great
Patty.
night. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. And hello to our friends also in Minneapolis, St. Paul, tuning in on KTNF AM 950. Plus, everybody tuning in on live stream and texting us. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much, all of you, every single one of you.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. All of our friends tuning in on our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. Please subscribe to those platforms and invite your friends to join the conversation as well. And we're in studio with Chris Jones from Chris Jones and the Night Drivers. He'll be performing tomorrow night at Seaman Violins in Oakton in Skokie, along with Don
Sternberg. Don was good friends and played a bunch with the legendary Jethro Burns, who lived here for many years, legendary mandolin player, one half of the country comedy duo Homer and Jethro.
Okay.
But Don's been around here for a long time. I've known him since I was 21 and got to know him here, and so we've been friends since then. And we only started playing these shows together a couple of years ago.
Oh,
So
nice.
this has been a nice development.
Outstanding. And we were actually talking off the air a little bit about Scotland. I think we can talk about this because it all fits. One of the most lovely elements of the World Cup. Now, I full disclosure, I'm not a soccer aficionado fan. Like I went to a pub Tuesday to watch the France Senegal game, and it was nice to be in a pub. It's Three Counties Pub is a pretty solid Irish pub here. We have a lot of Irish expats in the neighborhood, so that was fun. Because I just want the energy of it. I'm having FOMO. In large part, meaning that I'm sad that Chicago is not one of the host cities for various reasons. Mayor Rahm Emanuel at the time, said that FIFA's deal was going to be too exorbitant for us to carry the burden of, and I get that. Although, I mean, there are some other things that he did. Like, so this is the thing where you're going to have your morals. Okay, so watching what's happening. Let's just say, first of all, in Mexico City and in Guadalajara. I don't know if you've seen like the Korean fans and the Mexican fans bonding, and Lawrence, Kansas, which turned out for their teams that are playing and practicing there, showed up like in the dark of night to welcome them, like hundreds of fans cheering them, and they had learned their national anthem. Now, of course, my favorite story are the Scots. Are you following any of this?
I've missed a lot of it because it's been a crazy week.
Chris, first of all, it started before they even landed. They drank all the beer on the flight from Scotland to Boston. Okay. So that starts. And then, so they're estimating there may be as many as 40,000 Scots they're going to rename it New Scotland instead of New England. It is crazy. And so the plain consumption of beer was just the harbinger of, like, there's news stories of bars all over Boston just running out of all their beer. They have to restock, and they're going to be there for a bit. They're showing up in kilts. The first story I saw, like in Boston with the bagpipes, it was like 6 a.m. in front of an Airbnb, and the neighbors would come out like, I guess this is, but like on Boston Common, thousands of them. They said it was about almost 5,000 of them bought baseball tickets to the Red Sox game. And then they broke the sound level records at the soccer match, just singing their national anthem. It was like, they said it was just at the point of pain of the sound.
So did they clean Fenway Park out of beer is the question.
Well, not only did they might have, but the other thing is they're picking up garbage as they go. There's a guy cleaning up at Boston Common, and he's like, is this one guy? He's like, I'm the only one here. There's not much. They're cleaning up after themselves. It is so I thought, well, certainly some people have to be passing through Chicago, right? It's like, and I found one on TikTok. This guy's like, my plane got delayed. Your plane got delayed, right? He was gonna have a layover of a whole day. He's like, I'm gonna see what Chicago has to offer. Chris, I wanted to throw something. This kid never left Lake Cook Road, right? I don't know where his hotel was. He must he starts the video out in front of a Home Depot. I'm not even, and then he's like, oh, there's a Dunkin' Donuts. I got to go to he's from England. He's going to the Dunkin' Donuts. He goes to a Planet Fitness. He goes to the Tanny. I'm like, and here's, I could almost let it go, right? Like, okay, he was by his hotel. Maybe he was afraid. He gets on the blue line. He shows footage of him being on the blue line, but he never goes into the city. He stays out in the suburbs. Okay, I feel like you need to get on the tourism train of excitement that people from around the world. Not all of it. There are some horrible stories, right? With like referees being detained and a lot of racism also happening with some of the teams. I have to say though, it's just a lot of fun to watch. Like there's some of them are on the road stopping at Buc-ee's. Have you been to a Buc-ee's?
Yes.
They are dazzled by 24 gas pumps and clean bathrooms. And the guy cutting roast beef behind the counter and Bucky nuggets or something. Like, they're just losing their minds.
I took an Italian musician to a Buc-ee's in Tennessee, and there was some culture shock for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
They're eating Cane's chicken. They're dazzled by cheesecake factories and chili. I'm like, get out! Stop! Waffle. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the winner above all of this is Waffle House. They cannot get enough of Waffle House biscuits and gravy. They're all like just. Oh my God. It's a lot of fun, but and then there are Brits eating tacos for the tacos. I can't the way they're saying it. I can't it's like 3 syllables from them. It's really funny. It's my favorite. You have to once your algorithm is filled with these videos, you don't need to see another puppy or kitten or music video. It's just this joy.
I need to watch a few of those and fix my algorithm.
Yes, because again, the other thing we were talking about Scotland. So how long did you live in Scotland?
Almost a year, like a full school year, because my wife was working on a PhD at the University of Aberdeen. And at that time, offshore oil was high. It was a big thing going on, and we couldn't get a place to live there. So we were living down the road in the Angus area in a town called Forfar, which is known for a certain kind of meat pie, the Forfar Bridie. But anyway, that became our home. We loved it, and we just went back recently. We took a little house sitting job, looked after somebody's house over there, so got some free lodging and walked a dog while we were there, and so
I need to find a setup like that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you about that, but we just have to go back after a certain amount of time now.
I can't wait to go back. It's my. I mean, there are 3 places now I'm in love with. My city. It's going to be really hard to take me out of my city, but I'm in love with New Orleans. I cannot get enough of New Orleans. Joan, by the way, there was somebody who texted Joan, I think, about some recommendations for hotels, and mine are, if you can go all in and spend a lot of money, Hotel Monteleone. It's the one with the carousel bar that rotates in the lobby. It's just fantastic. Hotel the Prince Conti Hotel, nice, affordable, and outside of the Bourbon Street sort of loudness is Hotel Richelieu, which saved my mother when she walked 8 blocks in search of me, even though I told her the doorway to the restaurant was right across the street.
My bass player now is from New Orleans, and so I want to get the insider musician tour of New Orleans one of these days. So.
It's unbelievable. Before I let you go, Judy's on the line. I know that you have to take off. Judy wanted to call about musicians. Hey, Judy, what's on your mind?
I said I thought maybe I might be the only one that remembers who Homer and Jethro are.
Oh, how great is that, Judy?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Judy, you are so close to this venue. You should go tomorrow to Siemens Violins.
Should.
Yes,
I should. Well, what I did, I really, and my nephew that you've met, the short guy, he's quite a good musician, and he plays what he calls fiddle. He said, attitude. He plays the violin, but he plays fiddle and guitar and quite a few things. Last year I was sitting watching the parade, and there he was taking someone's place. But I was wondering if he knows. I do want to give him a call and make sure he knows that that's right down the street. It is right off of Oakton now in Skokie.
Oh, great. Yeah. Don Sternberg, like I said, was a good friend of Jethro Burns when he was alive. I got to know him a little bit, too. Of course, they were known for their funny stuff, but he was this incredible mandolin player.
They were incredible musicians.
And, they did a whole instrumental album called Playing It Straight, and that was just musically
I know that it's someplace in this house, in the junk that I have accumulated. I have a Homer and Jethro, unless it got caught in one of our floods. Yeah, I loved them. We used to have the barn dance.
Oh yeah,
and we would appear on that once in a while.
What's so funny? At my previous radio station, we were actually having conversations about doing like a quarterly barn dance at WGN.
Oh
and
God,
it just never came to life. Yeah, I've got to run, Judy. Thank you so much for calling, my friend. Get to the show tomorrow night. Maybe I'll see you there.
Where?
At the show at SiemensViolins.com.
Oh, are you going?
I'm going after the show.
What time is it?
It's
7 o'clock.
Well, that might be a problem, but I do intend to call Matt and tell him, make sure that he knows.
Excellent.
I mean, he could probably walk it.
Get there. Tell me to get there. Thanks, Judy.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good night. Chris Jones and the Night Drivers. Best website, chrisjonesandthenightdrivers.com?
chrisjonesgrass.com.
Oh, that's right. chrisjonesgrass.com.
Yeah.
Was John Harris listening? We forgot to even tell John that you. Did you tell him?
I don't know if he was listening or not. I mean, he's out of town.
Okay, I should remind him that you were in.
But yeah, and we will be back. The whole band will be in Frankfort, Illinois, in July at Frankfort Bluegrass Festival. So.
You don't have to wait till you're in town. If you want to call in and check in sometime, don't hesitate.
I would love to do it.
Because we can do Zoom
sure.
now. We've got Zoom as our whole little toy now here.
Yeah.
So.
I always mess Zoom up, but I'll fix it.
You can come and join us.
Yeah.
All right. Have safe travels. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, take care.
All right. Thank you, Chris Jones. More after this. We're gonna have comedian Deanna Ortiz in studio. She has a show coming up that you need to know about. I think it's at the Steppenwolf K Fancy. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 and KTNF AM 950. Thank you all for being here.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. If I sound like I'm out of breath, it's because I was rounding around the station hallways trying to gear up some products for our guest, Chris Jones, who's going to take leave of us soon because he's got a show to tape tonight for, excuse me.
For Sirius XM.
And it's called...
Well, there's a bluegrass channel, and there's a classic country channel I refer to, which is called Willie's Roadhouse, and then Bluegrass Junction. So
excellent. And for folks know that I write a column for Minocqua Brewing Company, so I still have a stash in my office. I've given you some Resistance Pilsner, some Joint Session, which is the kind of over-the-counter THC you can still purchase. So it's a wonderful soda, as well as a hop water. So there's a non-flavored, non-sugar version of that, as well as the fruited sour Love Wins. So that's for you to enjoy, which will also go home with our next guest, Deanna Ortiz, who has a solo show coming up at the Steppenwolf Theater.
Yes.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys? I'm so excited to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you. Well, you're no stranger to radio because you do a lot of work on another station.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
You're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can talk
I just reminded.
Yes. You, so Wait, Don't Tell Me is something you've worked on for years.
Yeah, I'm just a freelancer. So when they call me, I go, and it's so much fun. And it feels like a writer's room, and I think it's really helped comedy writing in general when I go, because I write for I write in a different voice than my voice, and it's really, really fun, and I love that show.
And I mean, that's the thing, is that having a deadline as a writer, and you do all current events, so it's got to be topical, which actually, since we're on the air, and I'm not putting you on the spot, would you ever consider writing a column for Minocqua Brewing Company from a progressive point of view?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, then you're in. I've got that.
Great.
I'm in charge of vetting guest columnists.
Wow, we got it locked in. We got it recorded. Let's go.
I want more women's voices, and a woman of color in particular. And speaking of which, you have a show. Tell us about coming up at the Steppenwolf.
Yeah, so my show is called Funny Slut. I'm taking it to the prestigious Steppenwolf Theater, and I was like, I'm sorry. Please put this word on here. And so basically, for the past 4 years, my day job was doing social media for people in the adult entertainment industry, and so it's all about what I learned and how watching that content made me a better person. It won't work for anybody else, but it only works for me. So I basically answer all the questions that people have. What was it like? How did you get that job? What did you do every day? And then also I go into how it affected my dating life. So the structure is I was watching this stuff at work, and then here's how it translated into dating.
Wow.
So it's fun.
It's funny because I know that you've done this work, but for me, it doesn't define who you are. Does it define who you are to other people then? Like when they see you, like, oh, it's the girl that does the trashy
funny
stuff.
slut. Yeah. No, yes and no. I think not since I'm no longer with the company.
Right.
So now no longer that I'm not working with them anymore, I think it's given me a little bit more space. But for the most part, everybody is just genuinely curious about it. And what I like about the show, so it's half stand-up, half storytelling with a PowerPoint. I love a visual aid. And it's not graphic. It's not, we're like talking about this stuff that's very taboo in a way that's just like fun and silly.
Right.
Yeah, and I've been touring it a lot. I was in New York and LA, and I went to Omaha where I met these women who were just like, like soccer moms, for lack of a better word, and they don't have access. They don't know where to start. And they came to the show and they started asking me questions about like just general like porn. It was like, they were like, well, it's not for women. And I was like, it can be if you want it to be.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, but like for women, it's like audiobooks. And I was like, it can be.
Sure.
But also do that. I was like, I told them like a couple of things. I was like, Google this and Google that and don't Google anything else.
I'm sorry, what am I Googling?
Balesa House.
Balesa House?
Stun, good for women. Yeah, I told them to look that up because then they also asked me, they said, what's hentai? And I was like, don't look it up. Don't do it. So I think it was like really sweet. And I think interesting that I can connect with these women who are probably very fulfilled in their life, but didn't realize that that was something that they could or even should consider exploring.
I think that so when I started doing stand-up comedy and actually when I became a mom and I was very honest about the things that I went through with pregnancy. So I long before, I can't remember her name now, but she was pregnant and doing a show. I had a show called Pregnant Party Girl from Stolies to Stirrups, which was at the same place where the Laugh Factory is now. It was a Lakeshore Theater.
Yeah.
And it was a solo show and I was like 8.5 months pregnant. And then I did a show follow-up to it called Mamacita, Tales of a Diaper Diva. And there were women and my husband was behind some of them. It was after I had Griffin, and I was talking about how my body changes. And Steve said that there were these women walking in front of him, like in their 70s, going, "So who's still loose down there?"
Oh my God!
It was just great because it was like this conversation of something that they kind of related to and might not otherwise talk about. And they were like, "Oh, okay, I'm not the only." The biggest thing is I'm not the only one. Is what I think it's my favorite part of doing comedy. I'm not alone.
Yes. Yeah. And I think the biggest compliment that I get from just doing my normal stand-up is when people come up to me and say, this is exactly what me and my friends talk about.
Yes.
Like this, it's just felt like I was hanging out with my friends. And then they go, you should have brunch with me and my friends. And I go, no. I won't do that. But,
I know. People always ask, I would love to hang out with you. And I'm
always,
like, yeah, it's okay.
It's like,
okay, I'm tired. I'm tired.
They're like, come up for drinks. I'm like, no, I can't. I couldn't possibly. It's too much. I can't. Because then they expect me to be that all the time.
Yes.
Which I kind of am, but then I also kind of am not. It's exhausting to be this charismatic all the time.
Well, to be the expectation of us being funny.
Funny and on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because we can be very dark. I don't know if people notice that from the show. When does the show open?
It opens on Saturday, June 20th, and then I'm going to do it on the 21st, and that's it for Steppenwolf. It's just a weekend. I'm very excited about it. It does actually feel crazy that I'm going to be at Steppenwolf, which is like a huge, huge theater. It's great. It's awesome. And then hopefully, if I had a good time and they liked me, maybe I'll do it again in the future. I'm doing the show everywhere I can. So like I was in Louisville and Minneapolis. I'm looking to go to Denver soon and Detroit and any other city that will have me. Hate to name drop Detroit, but
people are listening in Michigan.
Yeah. That I'm like wherever I can go, I'll do it because it's a fun show and I just really I'm having a good time doing it.
Okay, so let me know. So how do folks find the ticket information for
all the ticket information is on my website, deannaortiz.com, or it's at the Steppenwolf website. So it's part of the Lookout series, which is the 10-year anniversary. The Lookout series, it's like they always focus on bringing attention to local Chicago creatives, and they do that every year. And so this is the 10-year anniversary, and so I'm really stoked that they let me in there as well. So if you go to the Steppenwolf website, LOL, I'll show up. Or you can just Google Funny Slut Chicago and I'll come up. Guaranteed.
She won't come over to your place. Her information will pop up. It'll populate the screen. It's right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then you message me and I'll come to your place. But that was a joke. That's a lie. I didn't mean it. I did.
Deanna Ortiz. The spelling is DEANNA Ortiz. Traditional spelling ORTIZ.
Yes.
Let's take a break here and continue our conversation. Chris Jones still in the studio. Are you staying till the end?
I've got to run, unfortunately.
I will,
apologize.
You weren't
It's been
trapped.
great.
You could have left. I feel bad that he was like, I have to stay. Chris Jones and the Night Drivers, of course. Tomorrow night, Chris will be joining Don Sternberg at Seaman Violins on Oakton in Skokie. You can go to seamanviolins.com to get tickets for that show as well. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation with Deanna Ortiz, the funny slut. I'm not calling her that. That's her name of her show.
Yeah.
It's just really fun to say. Not because I'm calling you that, but again, fun to say.
That's good.
There was a comedian that had a show at Edinburgh one year. Do you remember this? I can't remember. She's a big writer too, but it was American C word, but it was yeah.
She said it.
She said it.
See, that I felt kind of like clutching pearl saying slut. I'm not going to say the other one.
No. I was like, whoa.
Okay.
Let's take a break here. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, plus all of our friends tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and all the other digital devices that you have available.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950. I know Deanna Ortiz, comedian, writer Deanna Ortiz. Her show, Funny Slut, has been in Minneapolis, St. Paul, but we should probably see about Seattle, too, because we got listeners there. Folks,
I'd love to go to Seattle.
If you have any venues that you know of that you think would be perfect for a solo show called Funny Slut,
Please
message
me, find me.
Exactly. And Roosevelt is on the line. Roosevelt, are you calling about the conversations we were having about the Tartan Army taking over Boston?
No.
Oh, darn. I want to talk about that some more. What's on your mind, Roosevelt?
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you guys. Thank you for taking my call. I'm sorry, I got this New York thing going on here. Celebration. I want to talk about
celebration.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been watching it. Reminds me of the Bulls. I want to talk about sportsmanship, and I want to talk about assimilation. So, the MAGAs keep on saying these people don't assimilate. So my question is rhetorical. What are people supposed to assimilate with a country that doesn't let people come in a World Cup like that referee for the World Cup. And I've been making comparisons to my people, meaning Mexican people in general. Did you see how they were welcome? The team that wasn't allowed to stay here from Iran?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my point. My point is Mexico's always helped other countries. And the president of Mexico has gotten into hot trouble with this government because they send a bunch of, let's just say, oil and needs for Cuba. Remember, Trump was threatening the president not to be doing that. However, they let Russia send the oil to Cuba. But the people in general, the comparisons of the two cultures, it's totally the opposite. You have one culture that welcomes anybody, and I do mean anybody in Mexico. I don't know if you guys know it or not, but the first country during the World War II, the first country to welcome Jewish people was Mexico, not the United States.
You know, when I was in Mexico City, I remember my mom, because my mother grew up in Mexico City or lived most of her life before she came to the United States, pointed out like there's a Jewish community, like kind of like how Chicago had, but it's sort of where a lot of Jewish folks live. And it's always funny to me when people are surprised about like interculturalism. I don't know what's going on with your phone, Roosevelt, but you're making me crazy. What's going on?
Are we on speaker, maybe?
Yeah. No.
See?
No.
By the way, Roosevelt, I want to point out that Deanna Ortiz was the one that asked if you were on speakerphone, not me. I always ask. No.
I see. So they know. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. See, they always think I'm being picky. Huh?
I got old-fashioned headphones, ones with the wire. That's what you're hearing.
So it's not Bluetooth. Okay. You have like the headset, like if you buy Time magazine, you get the.
Right. But then I wanted to connect it with with the Trump administration and just the New York thing between New York and San Antonio. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when they won in San Antonio, that the Victor, I can't pronounce that long name, that kid from France for San Antonio first.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't shake anybody's hand. Did you guys see that? It was.
I heard about this.
Oh, I didn't see that. I mean, I watched the game. I was cheering for the Knicks only because they were winning. But I have talked to a lot of really diehard fans who are like, you know, I don't want the Spurs to win because I think this Wembanyama, or Wemby, as they're called, he's called for short, needs to to lose a little before they win. But I didn't see that he didn't shake his hands. I think that's out of character for him, because I had heard that he's like cool and chill and, you know, like very zen guy. So I'm very surprised that that happened.
Yeah, Deanna, funny you mentioned earlier Detroit, because it gave me flashbacks of Detroit. What I mean by that is they won 2 consecutive championships, and they used to beat up on the Bulls. However, when the Bulls went over the hump and swept them in 4 games, none of those guys shook their hands. You got to look it up, because so then it gave me flashbacks. I think it was 89, 90, or 90, 91. And they walked off the field with 7.9 seconds on the clock in their own, let's just say, home, which is Detroit. And everybody was clapping and cheering them on. And that's totally unsportsman to me. You got to know how to lose.
All bets are off these days. I think when you have leadership that looks like this, you're going to have players that behave that way. I got to run, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Because I want to make sure we keep talking about your show.
Yes.
Thank you.
I thought we were going to talk about the Scottish Tartan Army that's taking over Boston.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to Edinburgh in November, and I'm just like, I can't wait.
Okay, we have to talk.
So fun.
Have you been to Edinburgh before?
Never.
Or Scotland?
No.
Oh, damn, I'm so jealous.
I'm so excited.
I'm so
I can't wait. I'm going for a wedding. It'll be gorgeous in November.
I was so we went for the first time last year. I had never been to Scotland. I don't know if you need lodging, but it's in Glasgow anyway, which is like an hour and a half away. But at any rate, I'm sure you've got everything set up.
Yeah, we have.
Scotland's magical.
I can't wait.
It is fantastic. It's one of my favorite places on earth.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago and then New Orleans, and then it might be Scotland or New Orleans. I can't decide.
Oh, I love Dublin. I've been to Ireland a couple times.
Yeah.
Dublin totally reminds me of Chicago, and I don't know if I'm just saying that because I love Chicago and I had a great time in Dublin. I was like, no, this is like Chicago. But I'm so thrilled to go to Scotland.
How long are you going to be there for?
A week. So we're going to go to London. We're going to fly into London and then take the train up to Scotland and then the wedding, and then I'll stay for a couple days. I might go stop in Ireland on the way back because might as well, but I haven't worked that out just yet.
If you get a chance, I mean, people will tell you all the different places to go around Edinburgh. I mean, Glasgow is a pretty quick train ride away, and I freaking love it. But I've got some places to send you to in Edinburgh too.
Cool.
The people are fantastic. We were I was just looking at some pictures because Chris lived in Edinburgh. In Scotland for a while, up near Dundee and Aberdeen University. I absolutely love it. If I could move there,
I know.
I think about it.
I looked into, after the election, I looked into like how to change countries, but they're not looking for stand-up comedians. I was like, I have no like marketable traits.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think I have an idea that I'm trying to flesh out. So maybe we should grab coffee and talk about that.
Yeah.
A market, like more of a big tent comedy sort of theme thing that I don't know exists either here or there. That I'm trying to get off I just haven't had time.
Patty, you do so much.
I have an idea.
You do so much. And now we're going worldwide. We're taking it into the air.
Let's just say the bachelor party industry is $1 billion industry worldwide is all I'm saying. And there's things to tap into there, I think.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I like this.
And I think that let's talk.
I think we're gonna be really rich.
Actually, we need to have a meeting. So let's take a. Can we take a meeting?
Let's take a meeting. Let's get Roosevelt back on the line. We'll take a meeting, the three of us.
So let's remind folks,
Yes.
Deanna Ortiz is going to be at the Steppenwolf Theater starting Saturday night and another show on Sunday. And it's Funny Slut.
Yes.
I'm not yelling that at her. I felt like it kind of was.
But I take slut in a good way. It's called Funny Slut because a man did call me a funny slut once. And it was just such a bummer because I wasn't trying to be funny. You know, I was not. I was working hard to try.
Amazing. And so the tickets are available on your website as well as Steppenwolf's website. I'm trying to find the website for Steppenwolf and make sure that people can get the tickets. You guys, this is a great way to spend your weekend. Go to steppenwolftheater.org. That's steppenwolftheater.org. You'll see information about Funny Slut, about the show. Used to think her job was just posting thirst traps for porn stars. Turns out it was also therapy. That's going to be at the Steppenwolf Theater. I love it. You can also find it at her website, DeannaOrtiz.com. And don't make this the last. I mean, obviously we have to get coffee.
Love it.
Thank
you so much for having me. This is so great.
Thank you. Bye. Lady B, love you. Good night, everybody. Take care.